all helicopters have been procured for me to go to golf course. Thank you.
I never said he wasn't a great politician. I just said he's a
He's just an interview.
How'd you play out there today?
Well, I found the conditions challenging mostly because there's no grass on the golf course. But there never has been.
I'm thinking about back then, and I had high hopes for back then.
Track. When you got 3 crevices on the green, your course is trash.
Welcome back, folks. Beltway Golfer episode 27. Alex Dixon here. For this episode, I was actually on the way back up north from a trip down to Pinehurst, but we stopped by Belmont Golf Course just outside Richmond, Virginia, and sat down with Brent Schneider, who is the CEO of First Tee of Greater Richmond. First Tee of Greater Richmond won an RFP from Henrico County to be the operators of Belmont Golf Course, where I sat down with Brent for the better part of an hour for this episode. Belmont Golf Course has a tremendous amount of history, designed by A.W. Tillinghast, and is the only golf course in the entire state of Virginia to ever host a major, the 1949 PGA Championship, won by another Virginian, Sam Snead. It's just a really interesting project. They're getting ready to reopen at the end of May. They won the RFP back in December of 2019. Brent has been leading the efforts. He hired Love Golf Design, Davis Love III's golf architecture firm, to lead the restoration and renovation efforts. But what they're doing is somewhat outside the box. You know, an incredibly historic facility, 18-hole golf course designed by A.W. Tillinghast. They decided to restore 12 original holes to make a 12-hole golf course, as well as a 6-hole par 3 course. Each of those holes paying homage in a different way to other Tillinghast golf courses and famous holes, along with a putting course and an extensive practice area, all to align with the mission of the First Tee of Greater Richmond. So, you know, I think even though it's, you know, an hour and a half without traffic south of the Beltway, I think a lot of DC area golfers and really golfers around the country are going to make a pilgrimage to Belmont to see this incredible golf course restored and renovated in part, but also because it's such a unique project and is another in a path forward for a different way to think about municipal golf in this country going forward. Similar line of thinking to what National Links Trust here is doing here in DC, but the idea that again, golf courses don't necessarily have to be 18 holes, and what Brent and his team have done at the First Tee at Belmont in keeping the integrity of the golf course, both from the history and architectural aspects, but also thinking outside the box to align with their own mission and growing the game and making it extremely kid-friendly, is terrific. So really enjoyed sitting down with Brent and learning more about Belmont, and I'm excited for the grand reopening here at the end of May, and hope everyone enjoys the episode. Here it is. Episode 27, Belmont Golf Course, Brent Schneider, CEO of First Tee of Greater Richmond. Enjoy. Brent, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be out here. We're at Belmont Golf Course. Are we in Richmond proper?
We're in Henrico County.
Henrico County.
We're about 5 miles from downtown Richmond.
Got it. So Brent and I just drove around the golf course,
Yep.
Got a little tour. We're recording this, gosh, what's today? Today's the April 5th?
The 5th.
Today's 5th. So opening date of Belmont is?
So we cut the ribbon or hit our first golf shots, whatever we decide to do, on the 24th of May.
24th of May.
And we'll open that weekend, the 28th, to our Founders Club members, who are our annual members, and then the 29th of May we'll open to the public.
That is exciting. So let's start with the basics.
Yep.
There's a lot to kind of cover here, especially the history here at Belmont. Let's start with what was here, not what is gonna be here,
Yeah.
but what has been here for the last
So this
several decades.
It's a historic golf course. 1917, A.W. Tillinghast came in and built 18 great holes for Hermitage Country Club. It was Hermitage Country Club from 1917, not 1817, 1917 until 1977, when Hermitage moved out west to Goochland County and sold it to Henrico County. And Henrico has been operating Belmont as a municipal golf course since then. So what was here? 18 really good holes that were designed by a Hall of Fame designer.
Yep.
I mean, Belmont is the only course in the state of Virginia to host a major championship. 1949 PGA Championship that Sam Snead won. Ben Hogan won here in 1945, the Richmond Open. So we've been talking for 2 or 3 minutes, and I've mentioned 3 Hall of Famers so far. I forgot to tell you that 10 years after Tillinghast built the course in 1917, Donald Ross, who was working on a course across the street, came over and grassed the greens. The greens were originally sand greens, and he came over to grass them. So
we now have 4 Hall of Famers part of the story.
So now 4 Hall of Famers, and then fast forward to 2020, when the First Tee of Greater Richmond took over this property. We engaged with Love Golf Design that's led by Davis Love III, our 5th Hall of Famer, and so we feel like if pedigree of the people that have been involved in this course it has anything to do with our success, then we're off and running.
So there's a ton of history, a lot of big names. So from 1917, when it was originally designed as Hermitage Country Club, until 1977, when the county purchased it because the country club was moving. So it was for those first 60 years, it was a private course.
Hermitage Country Club.
Hermitage Country Club.
Yep.
But that was not open to the public.
Not open to the public.
And so I guess it's to everybody's benefit, both now and going forward, that the county did decide to purchase it in 1977.
I mean, I think it was a win-win. Hermitage they expanded, and now they have 36 holes out, and they're great holes out in Goochland County, just to the west of town. But what it did is it opened up the ability for the county to display a Tillinghast golf course to everyone. I mean, and so for the past 40 plus years, people have been playing this, and it's accessible. It was accessible to everyone. Over the last 3 or 4 years, it started to deteriorate. The conditioning, the rounds have gone downhill a little bit, and so the county was looking at, all right, what do we want to do with this property? This isn't sustainable, and the county is a very high functioning, well run. They're a well run county, all right. Sure.
But keeping a golf course wasn't necessarily the only option.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. So I think they were looking at alternative ways, whether it was turning it into a park, potentially doing some business development out here. This is pretty good land, and it's close to the highway, and so there's probably
which is a decision a lot of municipalities are having to make about their golf courses, especially located in urban areas throughout the country.
So the difference here is you've got a community of people, the neighbors, the people that have played Belmont for the last 40 years, that were adamant about this property remaining a golf course. And so the county heard, to the county's credit, they heard them loud and clear. There were several public meetings in the spring and summer of 2019.
Was that the group Preserve Belmont?
And they're still very, very active in some of the things that we're doing, but they essentially saved this golf course. And so
by getting really vocal about it.
Really vocal and saying, this is important to us, this is our county, we want to save Belmont. And what Belmont has become probably wasn't in their original vision, but I think they're very comfortable with it. Yeah. And so out of all of that, the county put out an RFP. They wanted to get the property off of their books. They didn't want to run it anymore, and so they put a process together where golf course management companies came in and bid for essentially the ownership, a long-term lease with the county to own and operate out here, and we were lucky enough to win that bid, and we can talk a little bit about that.
Do you know much about? Not necessarily who the other bidders were, maybe you didn't, maybe you don't want to talk about it, but what the other bids ideas for the property were?
I don't know a whole lot. I know that ours was different.
Yeah.
My sense is based on some of the groups that attended the meetings with the county were to keep the golf course an 18-hole facility and obviously I'm sure people saw a vision of fixing it up and fixing the bunkers but keeping the original.
Sure.
It just wasn't in our plan. We couldn't do that and be successful at what we do.
Was there? Did the county care about like the history? Does the county care about Tillinghast and like that kind of history?
I think so because people care and they represent taxpayers and neighbors and there's people care a lot about it. I think the really one of the things I'm very proud of and what we've accomplished here is we've brought a lot of that history back, and I think maybe people lost sight in how much it had deteriorated and how much of the history had gone away. And so being able to dive into this project, yes, it's new. We'll talk about what the facility is in a minute, but we've actually been able to bring a lot of the history back, which is really exciting.
Yeah. So before we get into what's going to be here and what the project is, so the first tee of Greater Richmond. Yeah. As you informed me as we were driving around, this isn't your first foray into operating a facility in the area.
Yeah, we have two other facilities that we operate. One is a 18-hole golf course, par 66, Lester George design in Henrico County. It was our first facility that opened in 2000.
So it's Chesterfield County or Henrico?
Chesterfield County. That opened in 2000. It's the Tattersall Youth Development Center at the First Tee Chesterfield Golf Course.
So the name of the golf course is First Tee Chesterfield Golf Course.
Yeah, the Tattersall Youth Development Center at the First Tee Chesterfield Golf Course. Put that on the logo.
I would say that's a mouthful.
So, but we named
that's a par 66.
Par 66. Yeah, really cool, really fun, well thought out golf course.
How long have you had operations over there?
2000. We opened in 2000.
For a while.
Yeah, we opened in 2000, and then we also have a facility that opened in 2003 that was renovated in 2017 on the old city landfill off of School Street in town, which is a 6-hole par 3 course. A really state-of-the-art driving range, and then inside we have 2 TrackMan simulators and a program room. We've partnered with Virginia Commonwealth University's golf team, where that's their home of golf. They practice there and they work there. And for those of your listeners and viewers who have not been to Richmond or are looking for a place to work on your game, I mean, obviously you want to come check out Belmont at the end of May, but downtown, our facility at Elson Redmond is an unbelievable place to practice.
And so I would have to imagine that the success or your experience in both those two operations said, this is a good model for us. This is working.
Our strategic plan, obviously we're youth development first. We're trying to impact kids through our different program offerings. But our strategic plan called for expanding the footprint of where we reach kids. And we're in Henrico County. We're in a lot of their schools as part of our curriculum in their elementary schools. And we wanted a green grass facility that could be an access point to a lot of those places. And so, when Belmont came up for RFP, our board started asking questions. What do we need to do? It makes sense. And really, going through that process, it really made it clear that we were really probably the right owner and operator for this facility moving forward. So we're excited the county wanted to partner with us.
Yeah.
And so far I think we've done it justice. I can't wait for the public to come out and see it.
I was unaware. And you had told me when we were touring the course that there are several First Tee chapters around the country that do operate facilities.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about because you're a nonprofit?
Yeah.
The kind of I don't know the different why that business model is different and why that may be a better way to run maybe municipal golf than not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously we're blessed to have investors and donors that want to help expand our mission of reaching youth through our program offerings. But one of the things that, we're getting ready to put in $5+ million in this property to transform it into something very special. We don't necessarily look for a return on investment on that money because of what we do. And so, a for-profit business would need to look at that. And so, we have other ways of generating money through donations. And we do hope this place is self-sustaining and profitable because it will in turn help our programs. But getting that initial investment back, it's not a loan. It was a gift, and it was a gift by a very anonymous person that was very generous and really believed in our vision of impacting the lives of young people through the game of golf.
That $5 million, all of that came from a single donor, or a good percentage?
Good percentage, and the county also pitched in a little bit as well.
Got it. Interesting.
Yep.
So the RFP got put out, several bids. First Tee of Greater Richmond wins.
Yeah.
At what point did you engage with Love Golf Design, and why did you engage with Love Golf Design?
Great question. So I met Scott Sherman, who's the lead architect for Love Golf Design, in the summer of 19 when they were at Birdwood, and really hit it off with him. I'm interested in golf course architecture as a amateur golfer. I'm not only running a really high quality First Tee facility and chapter, but I'm really interested in the game as well. And so it was a treat for me to go up and meet Scott while they were designing and finishing up Birdwood, and I really just hit it off. I mean, he is a great guy that I really related to, and when it became apparent that our project, that we were in the running to get the project, I reached out to Love Golf, and the first thing I asked Scott and Mark afterwards, Mark Love, was, are you all comfortable with our plan? Because our plan called for changing the original routing of this 18-hole Tillinghast golf course, and I didn't want to work with an architectural group or firm that was not comfortable with it. And that was a really good conversation that we had early on. Scott gave it a lot of thought.
So this conversation happened after you won the RFP.
It was right around the same time when we were we wanted. Love was part of our plan, and we said we were going to work with them as the RFP, but we didn't know we were going to get it. But we wanted to make sure that we were aligned, right? Yeah. And so Scott came back, and it was. I remember the conversation. He said, some of the most unique architectural in golf comes from Scotland in what they call these children's courses that are more like family courses, and they may be 7 holes or 9 holes or 10 holes or whatever. And he said, we could really do something special. And then when they came on property after we won the bid, they came up early in 2020, and they walked the property, and they just said, this place is spectacular. We can do a lot with it. So the idea for, and I don't even know if we've mentioned this, but it's going to be a 12-hole course. We'll edit it together, but it's going to be a 12-hole course. So the idea for a alternative, non-traditional number of holes was the first tees. Yeah. Well, so we knew we were limited with space, right? We knew we were limited in space, and in order to take this over, we knew we had to chop up some of the holes to create a practice facility, to create a short game area, a wedge range, and some of the other areas where we could conduct our programs. They're also open to the public, but we really program heavily out of those practice areas. That's how we reach kids. And then once they're ready and good enough, they go out and play the big course. And so what we have here is 12-hole championship course that's been restored of Tillinghast holes. We've got 6-hole short course. It's a par 3 course that the templates are all Tillinghast designs from around the country. We've got a 18-hole putting course. It's the largest in the state of Virginia, called the Ringer, that 34,000 square feet. 31,000 square feet. And a really good driving range, a short game area, a wedge course. I mean, we got it all. There's an entry point here for everyone. Sure. Yeah. But so at Belmont, prior to this renovation,
Was there much of a practice facility?
No, there was a putting green.
Putting green. That's
Yeah,
it.
putting
so,
green.
So no range.
Yeah.
When you came to, I imagine when you submitted your bid for the RFP,
Yeah.
The plan was likely very different than everyone else's. In that process, I interviewed a couple of folks from National Links Trust in this podcast earlier about their RFP process with the
Yeah.
National Park Service
Yeah.
in Washington, D.C. Was there a lot of feedback?
We submitted it. It was a sealed bid. We submitted it via sealed bid. I remember it was a Friday afternoon, and the first page of it essentially laid out our program. It was, we're gonna change it from an 18-hole to a 12-hole because of this and restore it. And if you're not interested in this, stop reading. And it was a 130+ page proposal, but we were like, essentially stop reading because this isn't for you. If it's not for you, and we got a call later on the next week from representatives of the county, and they're essentially asking, like, are you guys serious?
Yeah.
And we were, obviously very serious. And we were selected as one of the finalists, and we went in and presented to the final committee that made their recommendation to the board. And they could clearly tell that we had done our homework, that that we were in alignment with a lot of the things they wanted out here. Mm-hmm. One being a group that had worked with municipalities before. We've done that downtown and in Chesterfield County. Two, that our focus is on junior golf, which was a high priority with the RFP process. And three, that we had a very distinct plan on renovating and keeping this turf healthy and moving forward. And I think we checked all of those boxes.
Yeah.
And so it was easy for the county once they kind of bought into the changes for them to select us.
Interesting. A course with as much history as it does, I don't know, but I imagine with many of the great golden era or golden age of golf course architecture architects, there's probably an A.W. Tillinghast society and folks that are really obsessed with the way that his courses. Was there any pushback on the idea of essentially taking away 6 holes?
Early on a little bit, more so from the neighbors that were used to playing 18 holes, but more so than any, the renovation that we've created on the original 7 through 18, which is now 1 through 12. The feedback from those types of people, and we have some of them in Richmond that are very, very vocal and very well schooled on the Tillinghast ways, has been very, very positive. They see that the work that we've done with the property really kind of pays homage to the original design. And we rode around today. You saw some of the areas that we took cart paths out. We added some of the original bunkers back. I mean, we studied a lot of renderings, a lot of photos, a lot of drawings, and it's truly, old 7 through 18, now 1 through 12 of Belmont. It's truly a restoration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going around the course, we can kind of talk through it a little bit, but you did a lot of tree work out here.
Yeah.
Tons of bunker work. The bunkers look stunning.
Yeah.
How once the RFP was won and Love Golf Design got on board, the decisions to which holes to keep as the 12.
Yeah.
What was going to be the work to be done and how to restore this. Was that most of those decisions came from their team at Love Golf Design?
Through Love. They've been. We talked about this on the course. Davis and Mark Love, his brother, and Scott Sherman make up Love Golf Design. They're not a big bureaucratic group. It's 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
And they're all accessible, and they've been here a lot. And really, we leaned on them to kind of direct us on, what do you think? It's such a special piece of property. We had some ideas. We thought the range might go here and the short course here, and we were all in alignment, but they really led that process.
Yeah. So the par 3 course, You mentioned
Little Bell.
Little Bell.
Yeah.
There's some. Does he refer to them as templates or
Yeah.
some template
Inspiration, right?
inspirations
Yeah.
of Tillinghast holes? Can you talk about a couple of the ones that you guys did out
So
here?
the first hole's tiny, and it's a template of one of his templates, Tiny Tim, which he's done several times.
Which is essentially a short par three.
Short, but it's not easy, right?
Right.
It's not easy. Southward Hoe was the inspiration of number 2. Ours faces north, so we're going to call it Northward Hoe. And probably the other one that's most notable, we got inspiration from the 7th hole at San Francisco Golf Club for our 4th on Little Bell, which is San Francisco. It's the duel. It's the duel hole. It's called that because it was the last legal duel. Literally, the last legal duel in the United States was held on the tee box of this hole. And Scott got inspiration from this, and I think it's one of his better green complexes that he's done out here, and that will be known as Scott's Duel.
That's a heck of a background.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about the mission? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it's first tee. This is first tee is obviously all about growing the game and getting young folks into the game. So I did read that golfers involved in the first tee of Greater Richmond, do you get to play this course for free? Did I read that right?
Yeah.
How about that?
So, I mean, we're here because of our mission, right? And so our mission, through our program offerings and curriculum, we're trying to impact the lives of young people by providing, facilities and educational opportunities that teach life skills and build character, right? And so it's why we're here. The architectural, all of this stuff is fun and it's exciting to a lot of people, and I think it'll be an impact to the rest of the community, and we can talk about the feel of this place later on, but we're here because of the kids. So currently we reach kids 3 different ways. We through our school program, where we've partnered with elementary schools, we provided equipment, we provided training, and the teachers deliver first tee lesson plans to the kids on activity room or gym floors when they're in school, right?
Yeah.
And our hope is that those kids that are interested will find their way to green grass, and our green grass, Belmont being one now, but downtown at Elson Redmond and the Tattersall facility in Chesterfield, where kids go through our life skills experience program, which is very similar to how one would go through the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, starting when they're young, working their way up to different levels through different golf skills, different life skills, different community service hours, different volunteer hours. And the idea is to get them started when they're young and keep them until they're ready to go off to their next adventure after high school. And so we see in our life skill experience program, we see just over 1,200 on a normal year.
Wow.
And we think with Belmont that number will creep up over 2,000.
So have you seen youth involvement in the Richmond area grow pretty significantly recently?
I mean, we've had a successful program for many years. I mean, obviously the game itself is popular because people can be outside and it's people can social distance and it's something you can do with a family or friends. And so sign-ups for this summer for our programs and camps and spring break camps and spring sessions, I mean, they've been at an all-time high.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So there's going to be. So you had showed me. So we're kind of sitting to the. Am I looking east right here?
Yes. You're looking east.
Yeah. So east of the clubhouse and community recreation center is a pretty large driving range.
Yeah.
On the old, this was number 1 hole going out.
Correct.
And number 2, 3, 4 kind of came back through here. Big, beautiful old growth tree right in the middle.
Yeah.
And so I think one of you was saying that was the former logo of Belmont.
Yeah, it was. And we cut to about that size down that were next to it. We don't know if it fits, but we like it so much. Yeah. Scott Sherman, our architect, loves that tree, and so we're gonna give it a run this season and see how it goes on the range. I think it'll probably end up staying. Maybe people can work on high draws and low cuts and
Sure.
vice, an alternating ball. But it's a beautiful tree, and there's some well-known ranges around the country that have distinguished trees on them, and maybe we'll be known for that.
Yeah. And then there's a practice area down to the left of the range. So I imagine, there's going to be a heavy focus of getting young kids out here, and do you have a lot of? I imagine you have a lot of instructors on staff.
We do. So our programming team, our leaders are former participants. They work for us full time. They're trained in the first tee ways, and we have volunteer coaches. We have paid part-time coaches, and so we'll have regular classes out here after school during the school year, and camps during the summer. And the beautiful thing about this property is that we'll be able to offer the facility to our patrons, and at the same time have classes going, and so it'll feel busy, but there's something out here for everyone.
Absolutely. So back to the course a bit. This is such a unique property in the fact that the history involved with major championship, the fact that it's open to the public, the fact that it was designed in this golden age of course architecture, which is certainly, I don't know if having a moment right now or just having such a huge resurgence, but it is understandably gets a lot of attention. The idea of this 12-hole golf course, we were kind of talking a little bit out on the while we were driving around. How do you view a 12-hole golf course, or kind of an alternative length golf course, just in the larger scope of golf, now or going forward?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think there's room for them. I told you on the course, we've got inspiration from 3 really distinct properties around the country. One being Bobby Jones in Atlanta, that is now a 9-hole reversible golf course. It was an old kind of rundown city-owned golf course that had been renovated, and what they've done out there with their sense of community and inclusiveness and working with kids and people of all ages, it's really kind of neat, And so it's a lot better than what it was.
Sure.
And then Sweetens Cove. I mean, I know your listeners and viewers probably know about Sweetens, but they did something like really different, and they did it really well, and they didn't shy away from it. And so we've gotten inspiration from them, and the folks out in California at Goat Hill, they've created a community space that is welcoming, that has a great vibe. And so, to your question, what do I think of 12 holes? I mean, if I had all day to play golf, I probably would love to go out and play as many holes as possible. But, the reality is people don't have the time to do that. And so, playing 12 really high quality, obviously well designed, but well conditioned, I think it can work, and it's all about people embracing that. And I don't think it's quirky. I think it's just different. The holes, I mean, you saw them; they're great.
Sure,
they're great holes.
They're fantastic holes.
And so when we know they're great holes, and what our focus will be on moving forward, since the renovation's really complete and we're getting ready to open, is how do we create that inspirational culture where anyone can come here, whether you're a youth in our program, whether you've been playing golf for 40 years, whether you've gone to Drive Shack and picked up a club for the first time and be like, I'd like to get on real grass. Like, whoever you are, you can come here, feel welcome, have enjoyment, and there's a place for you at Belmont. There's an entry point. There's an entry point for all of them.
I'm curious. The fact, since this is owned by the county, who I imagine, I don't know, but they're probably less concerned with tradition, with golf tradition, and more concerned with what's good for the community.
Correct.
That in any other situation where maybe you've got a membership to appease to, or a
Absolutely.
board, you know, a corporate board. We have to make sure that you're going to hit some
I
bottom
mean,
line.
absolutely. And I think probably our track record with working with other jurisdictions that probably feel the same way, the fact that we're, you know, involved as a youth development organization and that very thing, you know, we're about community here. I mean, our vision at First Tee Greater Richmond is to strengthen the character of our community.
Yeah.
I mean, and we can do that here.
Sure.
You know?
What about like on a national level? Because this is, again, the history, the kind of the alternative aspect of what the course is, which I think a lot of people view as this is kind of the future. We had talked about in the course, you know, this being a kind of a DC-based golf podcast. Again, National Links Trust doing Rock Creek Park is kind of like a similar thing where they had this historic golden age 18 holes, and they decided, you know what, the best thing going forward is trying to capture 9 of those classic holes, but creating a plan of what's best going forward here. So nationally, I imagine you're getting a lot of attention, and people are kind of looking at this as a path forward.
I mean, you know, the world of golf, like, we have eyes on us. We know that, and we're not shying away from it. Again, there are 12 really good holes. There's new offerings. The vibe here will feel inclusive and welcoming, and it'll be affordable. You know, how do we continue to deliver on that every day? And that will be our focus as a team, to make someone's experience on day one the same experience that someone will have on day 100 or on year 10.
Yeah.
You know, being consistent, but we're not shying away from it. We think there's a place for kind of alternative golf, high quality alternative golf, and you know, the key is getting people out, having fun, celebrating the outdoors, celebrating our great game and the great intrinsic values of our game. But you know, we haven't spent a whole lot of time worrying about where we're going to stack up in the world of golf.
Right.
You know?
That's well, I love it. And you. One of my questions was when we were driving around is, you know, are you going to get tournaments? Are other people going to be concerned about that? That, you know, this is some, you know, you can't really do 18 holes. It's more than 9. But you immediately said, yeah, we're getting some.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But we have had some groups reach out, and they want to. You know, some of the better players in town have already talked about doing a fall event out here. You know, they obviously want to support the First Tee, but they realize that Belmont's something unique, and they want to be part of that. And you know, I could see high school matches happening here. You know, the county has several high schools with really good teams that need a home for golf, and we want them to be out here. I'd love to see, you know, 2 of our local or 4 of our local colleges have you know, maybe a warm-up tournament out here, and really, I mean, you wrote it. I mean, it's challenging.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
12, but you know, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And the strategy around, you know, playing really good golf will come into play. So yeah, I think we'll have tournaments. We don't, you know, what will we host in the future? We don't know. We don't know that yet, but we do know that there's been some interest from a competitive group, and you know, we'll continue to, you know, see where that takes us.
That's exciting. Let's talk a little bit more about the course itself. So, you know, we were chatting, and you're clearly an avid golfer. You've played some nice courses around, and you know, so you know what good golf looks like. And as we're
I know what good golf courses look like. I'm not sure I know what good golf looks like. At least not looking in the mirror. But,
talk a little bit about, so you know, a lot of, you know, Tillinghast, and then even Ross kind of you know, you said went in later and turned the sand greens into planted grass on them, but how a lot of the greens and the work that he did over the decades got lost, and Love, of course, golf decided to go
probably
back in.
most notably, I mean, and this happens everywhere. If you watch the U.S. Open when they were at Wingfoot, Gil Hans came in and he renovated, or you know, did a restoration of those greens. I mean, over the years, greens shrink. It's just part of the deal. I mean, you know, when you cut them every day, and they shrink. And so we had a lot of greens here that didn't match up to the bunker lines and maybe didn't have the original shapes that they had. And so that was easily seen. I mean, looking at old photos, so we restored all of the greens and the bunkering back to what the original design was. And that's exciting. I mean, that's super exciting. I mean, to the traditionalists you mentioned earlier, I mean, they should be really happy about that because we brought it back to life. You know, we GPS the greens, we dug them up, put drainage in, did the greens mix, put and then reshaped them back to the GPS. So they're total restorations.
Because the greens had gotten before the course closed for this RFP. The greens, is it fair to say the greens had got, I don't know if boring is the right term, but they got
short, like rounder. They've lost their edges. They lost some of the contours around the bunkering, and so I mean that is a true restoration, and we're not alone. I mean, when someone really does a good restoration in the game, typically that's what they're doing. They're expanding the green back to its original shape, if you will, and then how that would play into the bunkering on that particular hole.
Got it.
Yeah.
And speaking of the bunkering, there was at least 2 or 3 times as we were driving around, you were pointing out bunkers that over time had kind of gotten lost and were essentially became part of the woods.
A lot of fairway bunkers were on the outside of the cart paths that we changed and rerouted the paths, or took down a lot of trees and found bunkers, fairway bunkers. And then a lot of the greenside bunkers, we just brought them back to life. Some of them had disappeared over the years, and then some of them kind of lost their magnitude. And I think, the folks that come out and play for the first time, I mean, one of the things that will strike you about the 12-hole restoration is how dramatic the bunkers are. We feel like the way this golf course was originally built, I mean, the green complexes make this golf course, right? And so you'll clearly, if you've played Belmont in the last 4 or 5 years and you remember it and you come and see it once we reopen, you'll see a distinct difference in the look and feel of the greens and the bunkering. Is that fair?
That's very fair. I think, absolutely. I've played the course once. It was pretty fast, and it was several years ago, and I didn't remember necessarily the nuances of it, so it was great to see it again, and all the work that you've been doing on it. You also pointed out a few places where you either lengthened holes or added some interesting tee boxes. Yeah. And Belmont was, even before First Tee got their hands on it, there was some kind of hidden tees in some places.
Well, there's a rumor on Old 3, which is now part of the chipping green in short game area, that the old, I don't know if it's a rumor or it's true. I haven't been able to verify it, so it probably could be true because I've heard enough people say it. But the trolley cars used to stop at the Belmont trolley stop. Used to stop over there. I'm pointing to it because I'm looking at and there was, I do think they played the third tee up there at one point, but we did incorporate in the design a couple tees that won't be played on a regular basis, that are hidden tees that, our regulars might want to enjoy, or we may bring them out at a certain tournament that just gives a few of the holes a little bit different look. I don't know. It's not. I guess it's not a surprise anymore. I don't think they'll be on the scorecard. We'll say it like that.
Sure, that makes them hidden. More options is always a good thing, in my view, and I think in a lot of people's view.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned some. So this is getting a lot of attention. There's some events. It sounds like already planned. I know I'd seen Golfers Journal is having a big event.
They're coming out in the fall for one of their events. They've ramped up their offerings over the last year or so, and we're really excited to host them. And September 11th they'll be here, and I'm sure there'll be more on that on their website and sign-ups in the future. But it'll be a good way for folks that coming in from out of town to see Belmont for the first time.
I saw that you recently did branding and logos through Lee Wabransky.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce his name right?
Lee Wabransky. It has been a pleasure working with Lee.
How did that relationship?
So Scott Sherman, our architect, and Lee go way back, and so we didn't know. I mean, I'm sure you've researched or know of some of Lee's work. I mean, he does some pretty big time stuff.
I got a couple of his posters on my wall.
Yeah, and so, we didn't know if he'd want to take on Belmont. Like, we're a First Tee chapter in Richmond, Virginia. I mean, he's got a lot of bigger things. But when we called him and kind of pitched the idea, I mean, it's just a testament to how he is as a person. But he was all in, and I think he says this, and I really think he means it. I mean, and it's heartfelt that this has been one of the most satisfying projects that he's done based on what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So he's come up with 3 really cool logos for Belmont, for the Ringer, which is our putting course, and Little Bell, which is our short course. And we can't wait to get those on shirts and hats and have people sporting the Belmont apparel around the country. So
yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
So we've certainly covered, I think this unique project here and what you're building, and the 12 holes of Tillinghast holes is going to get already has, and will continue to get national recognition. But on a local level, beyond like the preserved Belmont folks, the city of Richmond, Greater Richmond, Henrico County, our people must be, are they as pumped as I am, or as we are?
They're excited. We launched, we were talking with our director, with Bill Potter, our director of marketing earlier, and they launched our website last week, Play Belmont RVA. And we launched what is known as our Founders Club, which is up to 100 original kind of founding members of Belmont. Belmont is public, but there will be annual memberships. And I think Bill told me earlier that we launched it last Thursday, and we've already sold 40 of them. So we feel good about where we're going. There's people are excited; they want to get out and play. I mean, courses are packed around here.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to showcase this and get people out, and hopefully they'll have a great feeling when they leave.
What is being whatever it is, 90, 100 miles up the road? What can you tell me a little bit about the Greater Richmond golf scene, and in particular the Greater Richmond public golf scene?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, I've been around a long time here, and I think we were voted 20 years ago one of the worst public golf cities in the country, and so I don't think that does it justice. I mean, there's a lot of unique properties between here and DC, and then once you get into Richmond, that people can come and play and enjoy the game. I mean, for all of our First Tee chapter, sites, Belmont, Elson Redmond, and the Tattersall are unique. Our friends over at Independence have a Fazio course that's really awesome. If you haven't played that, and there are a lot of other places in town that people can have a really high quality experience, and so if it's too busy in DC and you folks want to drive down, the hour and a half, we'll welcome them, and hopefully they'll be regulars. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go check out Elson Redmond after I leave here. I haven't been. It's Sounds cool.
So it's a really, the best part about Elson Redmond is the community that we've created there. It's built on the old city landfill way back. There's 6 par 3 holes, and just the driving range itself is awesome. And there's kids from the neighborhood. There's business people from downtown with their ties tucked in their shirts, hitting balls, and it's a melting pot for our community. And we always say, and I talk to our team a lot about this, like if the world itself could look like Elson Redmond and reflect the fun that people are having and the diversity, we'd probably be a better place. And we're really proud of that, and we look forward to creating that same type of atmosphere here at Belmont.
That's cool. And speaking of that, I don't think I saw the numbers and it put a smile on my face. Talk about like what are for the different courses the greens fee is going to look like?
Yeah, so,
ballpark.
So during the week to walk Belmont, $35. There's a military and first responder and senior rate discount. Weekends $40. To play Little Bell, it's $10 or $25 to play all day, which I think would be awesome. And I'm planning on bringing groups out to play Little Bell because of, it's Little Bell is walking only, and there's some really high quality holes out there. The name Little does not do it justice in the fact that those holes are really quality holes and isn't easy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
$10. I mean,
25 to play all day.
Oh, yeah,
right. And so, and then the ringer is $5. It's a 18-hole putting course, and then if you're with a child, that child's for free. And I should say this: kids in our First Tee program will be able to utilize the entire facility for free. And so, I mean, and Davis Love, the times he's been here, we've walked the property. He just can't get over the fact that they're going to be able to play a Tillinghast golf course, at no charge every day of their life if they wanted to.
I think I read
it's pretty awesome.
And one of the things I was reading one of the articles about the project in preparation for this, and there was a quote, I think it was by you, that said, everyone talks about growing the game. You can say grow the game all you want, but you need action to back that up. Yeah. And you don't see too many courses that are ready to say, essentially kids play free.
I don't know. I can't judge other people, but I do know that you hear it a lot, and we've put a plan together to do that, and now it's our responsibility when we have those kids out here to really make an impact on their lives, and whether that's teaching the inherent values of the game, whether that's teaching through our curriculum in the character development skills that we're creating. It's our responsibility to kind of give back to the youth of our community to make it a better place. I mean, if we can all do that, we'll be a better place.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. This project is super exciting. Tell me one more time, the opening day.
Yeah, so open to the public May 29th.
May 29th.
Yep.
So it's getting about 7 weeks from the time we're taping this.
We've got a lot of greening up to do between now and then, and we're confident that Mother Nature's going to take care of us.
I'm sure it will. Well, thank you very much for sitting down and being open to come on the podcast, and congratulations on winning the bid.
Yeah,
teaming up with Love Golf Design, thinking outside the box on creating something really cool and saving Belmont and making it just an incredibly exciting project.
It's been a really, really fun team effort. The county, Love, our contractors that did a lot of the work, our staff, our board. It's been a really fun project.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I can't wait to get out there and play.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.
I don't have a good golf game, but I don't really care. I'm a regular dude living in DC, and I want to know about DC-centric golf stuff. If you can tell me something that I don't already know, then that is great for me. I don't want the regular stuff. I want exciting stuff. I want different stuff. I want stuff I can't hear elsewhere. But I want it to be about DC golf.